Hello, my name is Matthew Nee, and I'll be covering the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and they're a national nonprofit fighting for racial justice. Their mission statement is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights of all persons and to eliminate race-based discrimination. Their initiatives include political lobbying, publicity efforts, litigation strategies, and police misconduct. They bestow annual awards to African Americans in two different categories. The first are Image Awards. They're for achievement in the arts and in entertainment. And the Spring Iron Medals are for outstanding achievement of any kind. The history of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People was that they were formed on February 12th, 1909 by activists William Edward Bogart Du Bois, Mary White Ovington, Moorfield Story, and Ida B. Wells. They participated in all forms of racial equality proceedings, such as Jim Crow laws, the Brown versus Board, and Plessy versus Ferguson. Today, the NAACP is headquartered in Baltimore, with additional offices in New York, Michigan, Georgia, Maryland, Texas, Colorado, and California. The current chairman is Leon Russell, and the current president is Derek Johnson. As of 2007, the NAACP had approximately 425,000 paying and non-paying members. They have a usual membership growth of 5% year after year. Their total revenue in 2018 was $33.5 million. They listed 61 corporate donors, 20 foundations, and 7 organizations. They gave the nonprofit and its affiliates at least 6-figure size donations, and that includes AT&T, Wells Fargo, and Ford. When it comes to racial justice, a big movement that they are working on is with the election that this is an opportunity for the first African American woman to be vice president of the United States. They created the NAACP Civic Engagement Program, which communicated with the African American population and it encouraged them to show up to the voting booth and speak their mind. According to their website, volunteers sent over 16 million text messages, made 675,000 calls, sent 4.5 million pieces of mail, and over 400,000 emails before the election to potential voters. When it comes to Black Lives Matter, the NAACP said in a recent statement that the mischaracterization of what transpired in this country over the last several months creates a false and dangerous narrative around what democracy looks like in America. They felt that the news media described peaceful protests as violent and out of control when they were really peaceful. They say the effectiveness of your cause is decreased when the public views the activists as being hostile. And the NAACP encourages peaceful protesters to continue in a peaceful manner and urges news outlets to report honestly. The NAACP strives to make all people feel equal, not just African Americans. In a 2005 speech, the chairman of the NAACP at the time, Julian Bond, said this: "Sexual disposition parallels race. I was born this way. I have no choice. I wouldn't change it if I could, and sexuality is unchangeable." Bond and the NAACP pitted a war against religious groups who opposed gay marriage, such as the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And the organization became increasingly vocal in the opposition against state-level constitutional amendments to ban same-sex marriage and other related rights that relate to the LGBT community. A few challenges that they faced with COVID-19 logistics. They partnered with Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York to be sure that COVID-19 tests and vaccines are distributed properly to lower income communities. The big problem is that lower income communities are getting tested for the virus at a significantly lower rate than high income communities. And the big difference there is that high income communities have more access to health care and they have more access to health insurance and funding that makes them able to afford it. The NAACP provides funds and volunteers that help bridge the gap between doctors and those that can't really reach them. The NAACP is one of the oldest civil rights organizations in the country, and their tactics show it. They use costly methods, which haven't really changed since the 1940s, which is like making phone calls, sending mail, or going door to door. The newer generation of civil rights movements are much more savvy on social media. They're capable of gaining a strong following with a much lower budget, while the NAACP struggles to gain any influence online. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation on the NAACP.